All right, and you walk it 5 times. What's your distance going to be? How do you figure it out? You do what? You can add, or you can actually do what?
400 times 5.
You can do it either way. Some people said to multiply, some said to add. So if you do the track 400 meters and you do it 5 times, you would add it how many times? You would add it 5 times, which is fine. You have no problems doing that. That's a great way to do it. So you would get, you can do it that way. Several of you said we can multiply. That's fine too. 400 times 5 is 2,000 meters. Both ways work beautifully, and that is your distance. Now, if you're on a track, what can you tell me about the displacement, Drew? I said Drew. I'm going to get you some kind of muzzle or something.
You can't have a displacement if you go around the track because you don't stop at one part of the track.
That's right. You start and stop where? At the same point. Okay? Because you start and stop at the exact same place, your displacement is 0 meters. Because of the fact that you start and stop in the exact same spot, your displacement is 0 meters. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Now, if you're one of the folks who does something with his staggered points on the track, would your displacement be 0 in that part of track? No, because you're not going to start and stop in the same place. But if you start and stop at the same point, you would be someone who has 0 displacement. All right, so Sam walks 10 blocks west and 5 blocks south. What is his distance and his displacement? What do we know if we walk 10 blocks west? And we walk 5 blocks some direction. What direction we go? South. All right, 5 blocks south. All right, we created a right angle. All right, if we create a right angle, how do we find our distance? We do what to find distance, Tanya? All right, I said how to find distance. What do we do to find distance?
Oh, you add.
You add. Very good. So 5 plus 10 will give us 15 blocks for the distance. All right, so to find displacement, how am I going to find displacement, Abigail? Devin, hush. How are we going to find displacement? How are we going to find displacement, Tim? So you're going to use what math function that you remember from probably Algebra 1? What's the name of it? Yep, there you go. The Pythagorean theorem. All right, so that's why Timothy's telling you to square things. He's using a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, and I think it was Carlos yesterday who said this is like cutting through the church parking lots. Okay, it's like taking shortcuts instead of walking all the way around the blocks. This is like cutting through parking lots or through the cemetery or cutting through some back way through the neighborhood so that you don't have to walk all the way around. That's displacement. So a squared would be what? 5 squared plus b squared would be 10 squared equals c squared. Now, like I said yesterday, if you can't do it in your head, use a calculator. If you know 5 squared, great. Plus 10 squared is equals c squared. 125 equals c squared. Now, the square root of 125, most people are not going to know off the top of their head. It's 11.1. Okay. So c squared becomes c equals 11.1. And again, the unit is blocks. So 11.1 blocks. Okay. Questions about number 2? We're good with that one? All right, number 3. Number 3 says, I leave LSHS and I drive 33 miles to Greensboro. Then I get to LSHS and return. So I drove 33 miles. Then I return 33 miles. And then I drive another 11 miles home. So what is my distance that I traveled? I add, right? So if I have, what's that, 66? And then I add 11. So I get 77 miles is my distance. My displacement. All right. What did we put for displacement, Cynthia? What do you think? Displacement. What do you think? Remember, you don't get shot if you're wrong, so just tell me what you think. Sure. All right, what's going to happen to the 233 miles? They're going to cancel each other out. That's right. These 233 miles are going to cancel each other out, and you're going to be left with 11 miles. Okay? Questions about that? The 233s are going to cancel each other out. All right, let's look at homework.
That's what my mama told me.
I'm glad she was right. Carlos, hush. All right, let's look at homework. See what kind of questions we have about that, if any. There were only 6 questions. You should be okay.
But I wasn't.
I'm sorry your state of mind was not conducive to doing homework. Chris, take your book bag off your desk. All right, number 1A. You should have an answer of 73. Devin, put your phone up there on my desk. Or put it all the way up on the counter beside Abigail so that you're not tempted to be checked. All right, number 1A is 73 miles. Number 1B is 13 miles. Anybody need me to explain that? Number 1A is 73 miles. B is 13 miles. All right, so it says in A, get rid of all this, that I drive 30 miles to Greensboro today from school, and then return to Greensboro, and then I drive 13 miles. So I drive 30 miles. Let's just say it says to Greensboro from school. So I got school, and I'm going to write GSO because that's the symbol for Greensboro at the airport. All right, so it says 30 miles in the question. And then it says I return to the school. So how many miles am I going to drive if I return to the school?
30.
I'm going to drive 30 miles back. Now, once I get to the school, what does it tell me I'm doing? I'm doing what? After I get to the school, what am I doing? I'm driving home, and I'm driving how many miles? I'm driving 13 miles. So, what is my distance? What do I do for distance? That's everything, right? So, if distance is everything, what do I do for everything? So, I do 30 plus 30 plus 13. So, what do I get when I add all that up? 73 miles. Keely, pick your head up.
Oh, look. I
don't think that worked out too well for you.
Yeah.
All right, for displacement. All right, displacement. All right, is the difference. So for displacement, you got to take out what cancels out. So what's going to cancel each other out?
30 and 30.
So the 30 and the 30 got to go away. So what are we left with?
13.
The 13 miles. Questions? All right, number 2. Number 2, you should have for A, 1,200 meters. And for B, you should have 0 meters. Anybody have a question on that one?
What was this?
I haven't-
100 and 0?
1200 and 0.
What was this supposed to be?
I just did that one.
No, I was asking what was my fault.
It's anything that you.
I got
73 and 13. I even wrote it down.
You said 1200.
1200 and 0. All right, number 3. Number 3A is 8 blocks, and B is 4 blocks. Technically, you can say 4 blocks east, but if you got 4 blocks, I'll be happy.
I just said 4 blocks.
Very good. All right, so then we jump down to the bottom, and I gave you 5, 6, and 8.
6 was different.
Number 5 would be 7 miles for distance, and displacement is 5. And both of them are kilometers. Yeah, kilometers. 4 kilometers or kilometers, however you want to say it. And then displacement is 5 kilometers or kilometers.
It's crazy.
What?
4.5.
It's what
You want me to do it?
Yeah.
You do it.
Okay, I'll do it. So David walks 3 kilometers north. So 3 kilometers or kilometers north, and then he walks 4 kilometers east. All right, so to find distance, that's everything, right? So distance, we just do what? We just add. So 4 plus 3 is 7. Now, to find displacement, we've got to do that Pythagorean theorem, right triangle stuff, right? So 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. So 3 squared is plus 4 squared is equals c squared. 9 plus 16 is what, 25? Equals c squared. What's the square root of 25?
5.
So c is 5 kilometers or kilometers, however you want to say it. Either one would be correct. Number 6. This is the one several people said was hard. The distance is 5. The displacement is 1.
Yep.
Both of them are in miles. Now, the distance is 5. The displacement is 1.
Don't show me how you got that.
Okay. Everybody got what they want off the board? All right. So it says Amy runs 2 miles south. So Amy runs 2 miles south. She turns around and she does what? She runs 3 miles north. So to find her distance, what do I do to find her distance?
I just messed up. Yeah.
You add them together, so that's how you get 5.
And then you subtract, and that's how you get 1.
Yep. The 2 miles that she ran this direction, so those 2 and these 2 miles right here, okay, these 2 miles here and here cancel each other out. So this 1 mile right there is the only part that doesn't cancel out. All right, the last question. Carlos, you're going to be sitting in the hallway in a minute. You're wearing on my nerves. All right, Derek crawls 4 feet south, turns east, and crawls 6 feet. What is his distance if he crawls 4 feet and then 6 feet? 10 feet. What was his displacement?
7.2.
7.2 is correct. All right, so he went 4 feet south, and he goes 6 feet east. So his displacement, he's got to find this side right there. So 4 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared. What's 4 squared? Plus what's 6 squared?
36.
Equals c squared. So 16 plus 36. Okay. I don't know what 52 square root it is. Y'all know?
7.2.
Okay, so square root. C equals 7.2. What unit did I have in that question? Feet. 7.2 feet. Questions?
Oh, man. Appreciate it.
Any questions?
Appreciate it.
All right. Now, we will do some more with that later, but I want to talk speed so we can work on an activity today, and I don't have to talk the whole class period. All right. And that way tomorrow we can do a lab with some cars.
Bird.
All right, find your notes. We gotta talk a little bit of math. Then y'all are gonna do some measuring and some graphing.
Come on now, come on.
What?
Now measuring.
It's not hard.
I ain't going.
I'm telling you.
Oh, for real.
It's not hard.
How you gonna sell?
All right. So let's review where we were at the end of class yesterday. All right, you guys told me average speed was what? What average speed tell us yesterday?
Average speed
Wait,
tells.
listen.
Okay, distance and time. And the speed was essentially what? The speed was, the speed is, what's the key word I need you to say?
Change it.
There you go. You gotta remember the speed is changing. Okay, so I told you yesterday afternoon I had to go to Greensboro. So when I went to Greensboro, I had to get on and off all ramps. I had to deal with stoplights. I swear to God, when I was in Greensboro yesterday, not one light turned green. When I got to it, every single one of them turned red. So, yeah, I wasn't gonna piss. All right, so,
Yeah, flash the lights.
what am I gonna do about it?
It's not breaking.
You speed
I'm
there.
about 30.
That's
So what?
I don't want to break on my house.
My speed board turned red. Unfortunately, I didn't want to be in an auto accident, and I don't want a ticket. It's really rough on my insurance. All right, so if, and plus I have a daughter who's getting ready to go on my insurance, so I do not need higher insurance rates. I don't know if y'all are had insurance, but it's bad.
Car insurance.
You gotta tell me you a teacher.
It's not going to help.
Car insurance.
Anyways, I don't want to pay higher insurance rates than the 15-year-old going on there. Now, since speed is changing, how is the graph going to look?
It's gonna be linear.
It's gonna be.
It's not gonna be. It's not gonna
It's not going to be straight. That's the key. So when you're graphing today, if you have a line that's not straight, you know that it's going to be average. Now, if you turn that in like this, is that okay?
No.
It's an F. It's going to be marked wrong. What's wrong with my graph?
You ain't even got
it.
I ain't got any labels on it. If I don't put any labels on it, you don't get any points. What should be on this graph? Distance and time. Remember, it's got to have labels. Otherwise, you just drew some really pretty lines that don't tell us anything. Distance and time tell us that the distance and time are changing at uneven rates. Okay? Now, we were talking constant speed at the end of class when the bell rang. So, what can you tell me about constant speed?
Oh, no, this is
not changing.
All right, we are going to be moving, but the speed is not what? All right, it's not changing. All right. Now, somebody said yesterday, this is essentially the same thing as me driving with what on? Cruise control. Now, there are some small fluctuations, but it's a pretty good analysis to say driving with cruise control on. So, we drew two graphs to illustrate two concepts. First of all, how is constant speed going to look?
linear.
Okay, so how is the line going to look? All right, it has to be diagonal. And it has to be what? Has to be straight. So that we can see that the speed with the distance and time are changing very much the same. They're changing at the same rate. Now, the other graph that we drew yesterday was distance and time, and it had a flat line. Now, what did we say that flat line meant yesterday? All right, it meant we're not moving because distance here is not, make that look a little better, is not changing. So if distance is not changing, that tells you you're not moving. So right now, that graph is y'all. Y'all are sitting in a chair. Your distance, with the exception of Devin, your distance is not changing. So that would be you guys, because you're not moving. Time is ticking by on the clock. Time is moving, but you're sitting in your chairs. So you're not actually doing anything in terms of distance. Now, in a little bit, we're going to get up. We're going to do an activity at the counters. You're going to go get a laptop to register for your clubs. and you're going to be moving. Then you're going to look like constant speed or average speed. Which one? Average, because you're going to stand some, you're going to move some, you'll go faster, you'll go slower. No one's going to move at constant speed unless you were doing what? Walking in a straight line probably and going at a very constant speed. If you were changing classes, would you be able to walk at constant speed?
Not really.
No. They're both moving.
Somebody in the way.
Exactly. Exactly.
They don't even be moving, but they just be in front of you just, yeah, girl, yeah, that was good last night.
Exactly. So you're going to always largely look at average speed. Now, does everybody have the graphs? Now, we need to talk about a couple different examples of problems you might need to work. Now, this is as easy as it gets. And we're only talking about this only because of units. I don't care if you write this one down, you do need to write a couple others down the road. So if you don't want to write this one, don't write it, we'll just talk about it. Now, this question is asking you, what is the speed of a car if it travels 300 miles in 3 hours? Now, what formula did we talk about yesterday for speed?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, distance over.
Distance over time.
So the whole formula would be S equals D over T instead of just saying distance over time. So just like with density, the formulas all work the exact same way. There's a couple formulas we're going to learn that have 4 variables, but most of them are all 3 variable formulas. So you'll always be given 2 pieces. You're solving for the third. What are they asking you for in the question? They're asking you for speed. So you're looking for S. You got to have D and T. Now, which variable is always going to be the easiest for y'all to find? Out of these 3, which one do you think is always the easiest? Time is always the easiest. Students always recognize the time unit's the easiest. So find it first and plug it in. So which one is time? 3 hours. It goes on the bottom. Now, from there, the other one, hold on. Which one has to be distance then? 300. Okay? Now, you've got your numbers plugged in. Your units are miles over hours. Now, just like with density, and this is what DeAndre and I were talking about in the lab, because he had them flipped in a lot of them. All right? The order matters. Miles is on top because distance is on top in the formula. You cannot put them on the bottom. Are either of those going to cancel each other out? No. So you have to write both units. So 300 divided by 3 is 100. So we write it 100 miles over hours. Now, lots of people will write this 100 MPH because you guys are familiar with the abbreviation MPH for miles per hour from seeing on speedometers and things. If you do that, it's fine. I'm never going to take off for that. You will not see me write it that way very often because we just typically don't abbreviate it that way in science class. But if you write it this way, don't take off for it. You're going to see it written this way a lot. Okay? Questions about how the units work? Because that's the only reason I really talked about this problem was just to talk about units. Okay? Everybody good with that? Can I turn the page or no? Do I need to wait? I don't hear any weights out there. All right. I'm not going to work this one. I just want to ask one question. What does it mean when the question says how far? Does everybody understand it's asking for how far is distance? Everybody with me on that? All right. This one I want you to write down. This is one that causes more trouble than anything else. It did in density. It will with every formula we work. So I'll give you a minute to write it down for those people. All right, and the only reason it causes issues is because some of us have weaker math skills than others. Shush. Some of y'all work faster than others. Your mind works faster. Oh, you patient for a couple minutes. Okay, work with me on this.
Hop on bill too.
You bad luck.
Hop on bill too.
Nah, you bad luck. I'm done.
Oh,
Everybody, okay, we're going to sleep. Mom, sleep, I was not being
All right, so what are they asking you to find here?
how long?
apples and carrots.
All right, so when they say how long, which variable are you solving for in this?
T.
You're solving for time, okay? How long is time? Okay? And that's the reason I wanted to solve this. Some of us are still struggling with finding that bottom denominator. Some of you have got it and got it cold, but some of us are still solving wrong. All right, so what do we know?
It's
You run 12 miles.
All right, the 12 miles would be what? Would it be the distance or the speed? So the 12 miles has to go up here on the top. So 12 is the distance. That means the 3.5 is the what? The speed. Now, just like when we solved for density, what did I tell you to do to get the denominator? Same process. Nothing here is different. This is why I'm telling you, those of you who were struggling before, once you get the hang of this, all the formulas work the same way, and this is why I always solve it the same way. So you get 3.5t equals 1 times 12 is? How do you solve for t? Exactly. And once you've got a handle on that, all you have to be able to do is figure out where the data goes in the problem, because the math all works the same way. Lewis, leave your phone alone. It's fine charging.
Oh, no, it's go charging.
Is what?
Go charging.
Okay. All right, now look at your units up here. You got miles and you got miles per hour. What's going to happen? You got miles and miles per hour. What's going to happen? What's going to cancel out? The miles. So you're going to be left with what? Time will be what? Hours. You can write HR, you can write it out. Either one is fine. Everybody with me? All right, we got to talk about 2 other kinds of questions, and then we're going to do the lab. Now, this one, I recommend writing down, even though you're looking at me like that's a long problem with Walt. Because this one is so different from anything else we're going to work. This one and one with a table. And then we're going to talk about the lab.
We'd have to find this each individual data. We'd have to find each individual.
No, you will not. We're going to do it a different way. It'll be easier than that. All right, so what is the average speed of a person who walks 3 miles in 40 minutes, 2 miles in 20 minutes, rests for 10 minutes, and finishes 4 miles in 45 minutes?
I don't know, together. Find the mean of the situation. The mean of the problem.
Huh? That's what we're going to talk about. I'll give you a minute to write it down, and we'll talk about it.
She won't forget.
Jonathan, this class says that, or has asked me, have you claimed your IM? Did you get into it last year? You could get into it last year? Okay, she says you probably need to come see her then. You know who Miss Glass is? Okay, all right. We can talk about it in a little bit. But I am probably not gonna be, based on what Ms. Glass said, it is not a problem I can fix. Which is what Mr. Allen and I suspected from the beginning, despite what Ms. Ford said. Because I can only reset passwords. All right, we caught up, or do I need to wait? All right, so what do you think we should do here? How is this different from what we just talked about? I know you know, Trish. All right, what do you think we should do, Drew?
It's average, so you add up all of the numbers and.
All what numbers?
40, 32, 20, 10, 4, 45. Add up all of those numbers and divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
So you're gonna add everything up and then divide by the total number of numbers.
Yeah.
Thought that was the range.
Okay, not quite. What did you say, Jameer?
Thought that was
That's the
the
mean.
Wait, just a second.
The range though, I'm between.
Okay, we don't have to use a range. We don't have to do that. That's a little technical for what we're gonna do.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, no, we don't have to use a range. Any other suggestions?
Yeah, what he said, mean.
We don't even have to use a mean. All right, how do we find speed? How do we find speed?
We do this all the time.
Okay, so we're gonna take the total. Okay. And divide it by the. Okay. So now let's alter what Drew said. So we're gonna add up what? The distances. So what are the distances that we're going to add up to put on the top?
3 miles.
Okay. 3 miles plus,
2 miles.
plus. Okay. So dude went a total of 9 miles. Now, how long did it take him to do it? So he's got 40 minutes plus 20 minutes plus 10 minutes plus. Now, did I need to include the 10 minutes that he rested?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're finding his average speed. So, when I drove to my mom's on Saturday morning, did my trip calculate my average speed based on the 15 minutes I spent in the gas station because my children wanted a snack on the 5-hour ride? Yeah, it did. Okay? Because God forbid we make the 5-hour ride out there without a snack. Okay? You know, it's a long ride. You can't make it without having something to eat for a 5-hour ride. So, you know, that adds up in the average speed that we go.
115.
So, it's what?
115.
115. Okay? So 115 minutes.
Wait, what?
So, what's 9 divided by 115? It's going to be a really tiny number. 0.7?
Wow.
It's .07.
0.07 miles per minute. Okay, so we don't do very many miles per minute when we're walking it, particularly at that pace. These people were on a pretty leisurely pace. Well, actually not. I mean, when you consider 3 miles in 40 minutes, that's not bad. That's pretty good. 2 miles in 20 minutes, it's not terrible. All right. Now, questions. Now, how is this different from the last type of question we're going to do?
No.
Oop, I'll go back. Sorry. Sorry.
That's funny.
What are we doing?
Waiting on Marie to catch up. And then we got one new kind of problem to talk about that you're going to do in the lab.
Okay.
All right, write this down. So you got a sample. So when you and your partner are working and you're all raising your hand going, Ms. Wall, how do we do this problem? I can say, look in your notes. Write the chart down and the question. I would, simply because you and your partner are going to probably say, Ms. Wall, how do I do this? And I'm going to say, look in your notes. I am. So I'm standing here.
I can afford lead.
Can't afford lead.
I buy this pencil.
That's called carbon, not lead, by the way.
All right.
Pencils are
Oh, you
carbon.
didn't change that?
She got a rob.
Yes, I do.
I used it once.
It's my personal pet peeve, but I've largely figured out in 26 years I'm never going to convince students that pencils are not made of lead. They took lead out of pencils in the 70s. It's now 2017, and y'all are still telling me that pencils are made of lead.
I forgot. Now that Melody gave us.
I'm gonna give you a carbon pencil.
They're all carbon pencils.
That's it.
You're writing with a carbon pencil. You have been since you were born. Your parents are probably young enough that they were born since lead was taken out of pencils. I mean, I was born just slightly before they took lead out of pencils because I was born in '69.
Born in 83.
All right, so I was a toddler, maybe an infant when they took lead out of pencils. Okay? So if your parents were born after me, which most of them probably were, 69. That's why I said most of your parents were born after me. So, given that, they have never written with a lead pencil in their life. And they're probably still telling you about lead pencils. Most people are still talking about lead pencils. Lead has not been in a pencil since the early 70s. What had lead in it?
So-called zinc.
That zinc was zinc, it's not lead.
I don't think that zinc was zinc. I think it was lead.
It did say 0.2% lead. They're trying to kill us now.
I'm sure it did.
What about lead?
I was trying to take y'all out, I just didn't tell you.
Hey,
What about lead?
didn't I have my hand tingling? Hold up.
We don't even use thermometers that have mercury in them anymore. I took all of those out of the building the first 2 years I was here. Because mercury is toxic. Students love to play with mercury. It's super cool. It beads up. It's very dense. It's very viscous. You can put it in your hand and it just rolls around. It's super cool.
Oh, yeah, very much.
Mercury will leach into your skin and cause mercury poisoning. So the first 2 years I was here, I got rid of all those. We have alcohol-based thermometers now. I'm not going to be blamed or sued because kids are playing with mercury in class. Well, that's somebody else's problem, not mine. The chemistry teacher before me blew sodium up his face in the classroom. I can't fix stupid. All right, Crotchko. I don't know. Never met the man. All right, so we're going to find speed. So when we look at this, all right, and we're trying to find speed. Caitlin, you got your phone in front of the calculator? You want to put it on my desk up there for me, please, right beside mine, on my laptop.
He said,
Mhm.
Yeah, I was tell you,
That was a good try, though. Good try. Now, if we look at the chart that we have in front of us, okay, I want you to find speed from t equals 3 to t equals 8 seconds, okay? Now, if we look at the chart, we have to match up our data to get it, right? But how many times did I give you here? I gave you 2 times. Don't worry about the whole table. Just look at what I gave you in the question. How many times did I give you in the question? Okay, hang on. Half my class is looking at me like, what's she talking about? All right. How many times did I give you in the question? I gave you 2. Can everybody see that? So if I gave you 2 times, when you go to plug it in the formula, what are you going to do with 2 times? That's what I get a lot of. The answer is never add.
you don't add them, don't find them.
You subtract them. Okay?
Okay, first of all, you ain't get smart.
Shh.
Straight.
Y'all stop arguing amongst one another and behave. Now, we're going to subtract them. Okay? Now, did they give us any distances in the question when it says, what is the speed from 3 to 8? No. This is what you have to do with a chart. You have to match up the distances. So, in your chart, find what matches. So 3 seconds matches what? 20. The 8 seconds matches 40. Okay? So 40 goes above the 8. The 20 goes above the 3.
You get 20.
Okay? From this point, you just have to solve. So 40 minus 20 is what? 20. 8 minus 3 is? All right. 20 divided by 5 is? 4. Now, from there, I didn't put any units in, but they're in the chart. What unit is on top for distance? Just M for meters. And what's on the bottom for time? Seconds. Questions about how we did that? Yep. I'm not going off anywhere. I'm not turning the page. So that we don't have to write down another chart. I'm just adding a question so we can use the same chart and we have to write less. I know your hands are free now. You don't have to do it yourself.
Oh, I'm gonna have to.
What?
I'm gonna have to kill my mom.
Oh.
I mean, lay her out, like for real.
Oh!
I just witnessed the murder.
Oh, yeah, Jesus don't like you no more.
You know, like child from my grandma and house. And we don't do that. And she know we don't do that.
Straight up.
And she can wait till I get home, and she'll get.
Yeah,
Just calm down. We can talk about it. Come on, bathroom. Come to the bathroom. We can talk about it.
120 right now. Chill. You're okay. All right. So, what if we want to find average speed? How do we find average speed in the chart? This is one of the things that students do wrong based on the last question we just worked. So if I erase those red lines, how would we find average speed in the table? What do you think we did?
Average speed, yeah, I don't know.
That's exactly what people want to do. They want to add them all up. You go run track. Y'all ever talk about split times in track?
Yeah.
Okay, these are like split times. So at 2 seconds, you've made it 10 meters. At 3 seconds, you've made it 20 meters. 5 seconds, you've gone 30 meters, and so forth and so on. So what is the total? Let me change colors there. So what is the total distance that dude ran? The total distance he ran is the 50 meters. That is the total distance he ran. Let me make that a little further apart.
That's like.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And what is the total time it took him to run it? It took him 10 seconds to run it. So you don't have to add these all up. These are like split times. Okay? So what is his average speed? 5 meters per second. Now, what if you looked at these two questions? Would this be constant speed or average speed? Why do you say average, Maria? You're not wrong. Now give me a reason. Shh. That's not the one I want. How do you know it's average speed? The question said average speed is not the answer.
Because like it's not the same, so
What's not the same? You're almost there. What numbers?
1.
That's it. This is 4 meters per second, and that's 5 meters per second. Because the two speeds aren't the same, it has to be average speed. It's changing speeds. If it had been 5 and 5, then it would have been constant speed. All right, y'all there? You get what I'm saying? Okay. I got confused. Okay. All right, I'm going to make DeAndre my able-bodied assistant here today.
I'm just
He's
saying.
going to hand out the lab sheet.
Really doing it.
I do.
Hand out papers. Don't forget how you like.
Damn, Marie, you
All right, I need one more able-bodied assistant.
I got you.
Except that, where are my rulers?
I would.
Go ask Dr. Phillips if he has my rulers.
Hey, he ain't gonna pass. I got, hey, you got it for yourself.
He went through, didn't he? Go ask Dr. Phillips if he has my rulers. I mean, I have a couple of them in here, but. Yeah, over there. It should be in the room. I mean, I have my old ones, but they're not very good. They're hard to read.
What's that paper?
Not at all.
All right, does everybody have what's on the board? Because I need to turn this on. And I can give you the crappy rulers, but they're much easier to read with the new Windows.
You get
How confused, like, what's up, brother? Got that
Right.
Oh, we got it.
Yeah, the good old word.
That's what we want. They're easier to read. They're newer, so they're easier to see.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, here, you can sell them. Now you start on this side.
Yeah. Come over here. Yeah, yeah, G.
All right, I need one more over here. 1 for Cynthia. John, you got one for Cynthia?
I don't know. You right?
Yeah, just nothing.
Ooh. Yeah, don't stop acting like you like that with the sticks. I like playing with
I
sticks.
got to get some.
Play with that wood.
You got enough, or do I need to steal from my lab sheet? Or my lab setup over there? Did Cynthia get one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I give that wood.
All right, let me grab the pen. Y'all can see what I'm marking on. All right. Now, you don't have to actually write it down right now. You can do it with your lab partner in a second. I just want to show you how to do this so you know what you're doing and you're not, and when you get to the counter, you're not all yelling, what? I don't know what to do, Ms. Wall. All right, so you're going to start from the very beginning of this puck. Okay, these are a hockey puck. If you like watching hockey, this is essentially a hockey puck sliding across the ice on a hockey rink. Okay, you're going to take your ruler. See this line that's right here? All right, that's the very beginning. That gets lined up with the very front edge of the hockey puck. Now, once you get to your counter, try not to lift the ruler off the paper. If you do, line it back up with the front edge of the hockey puck again. Okay? Now, you're going to measure from there to the very front edge of this. You don't have to draw these lines in. I'm just doing this for illustration purposes for y'all. Okay? So you're going to measure from there to there and figure out what that is. Okay? So if you lay that down, for those of you who have a ruler, I know DeMarco can't because I stole his. What does it look like to you? The drumstick down. You put it up. Thank you. All right. Now, look at it again and see if there's a decimal, because some of these are going to have decimals. All right. So 2.1, I heard, centimeters. All right. The zero, it's zero, what's it at? Since I jumped that one. What's the zero at? It's at 0. All right. Now, the next one, you're going to measure from there to there. You're always starting from here, though. Then you're going to measure to there. Then you're going to measure to there. Okay? But you're always starting from the 0 to see what it measures. So if we go to the 0.2, You're from here to there. So what does from here to there look like? It's not at 4. 4 is right here. So it's past 4. So 4 point what? What does it look like? Look down at the ruler. All right, I hear 4.2. All right, now you've got to do the rest of them. When you finish, before you can answer these questions, you have to plot the graph on the back. It's going to ask you, what is the shape of the graph? If you didn't draw the graph, can you answer what the shape of the graph is?
No.
No, you cannot. Now, let me just tell y'all, some years people tell me it's a square. They're not asking you the shape of what's here, people. They're asking you the shape of what you draw, okay? So don't tell me it's a square. Just a tip, okay? Now, do not lose points for forgetting to label your X and Y axis, all right? Make sure you do not just number 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. Make sure it's a continuous interval. All right? How many people do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
20.
20. Groups of 2. You're about to leave. Devin's not here, so that's 18. Still groups of 2. Okay? Go. Groups of 2. Devin's with Miss Henson, and Chris is getting ready to go. So groups of 2. Find a spot on the calendar. You threw the ruler at me. Come on, hurry up. Find a person you can work with.
Come on.
And I'll leave that there in case anybody needs to see it. And this side of the bell. This is due by the bell. Don't waste your time.
I made a mistake. Mistakes happen. Nah, I didn't have to.
Oh, you want to be a little
This front edge here. You're laying your ruler down. Here.
Hold on a minute.
Here. Here. To here. Here. To here. Okay? Abigail, who are you working with? Find somebody. Come on. Everybody got a partner. Who doesn't have one? Who's me? Huh? Yeah, we won't get to velocity next.
Good.
We'll do this and then we'll have to do the practice homework problem.
Look, my partner. You got a problem with my partner? Okay.
You don't put your ruler here, this front edge.
They gonna
Yeah.
You're gonna move from that edge to here. And from that edge to here. From that edge to there. Yes, you're doing fine, except that you didn't put in 0 to start with. So that first one should be 0. Okay? And you jumped over from here to here. Now, go back to the Alright, so like here. See how you have 2, you have 4, the next thing you have 8. This. You have 4, something right here. You don't have 6 something left. You just jumping over the
I said,
Alright, Abigail. How are you? Oh, okay. Who's working with you?
Louis.
Yeah.
I need to say.
What's wrong with it? You can have Jessica finish the drop. Drop her name.
I'm mad at that, bro. Swear to God.
It's like this.
Yeah, he right there, turning around though.
Back here.
Yeah.
Right here.
When y'all finish, you need to get a laptop so that you can register for a club. So, the start.
What?
So I would always go from this beginning to that beginning, from here
Yeah, we
to
gonna
that,
work.
from here to that. Okay, I would always
Why
go to
you
the
tell
beginning.
me so many when you log in?
Cause you over there laughing.
That's wrong.
That's not wrong, that's right.
You skip two.
You wrong.
You skip 2.1. You keep that 2.1.
Now, hey, Ashley.
How's it, Carlos?
Hello there, how are you?
My brother says hi.
Because I'm so low user.
I do another space timing.
Yeah, what about
What side you pick over? You don't have I
Hey, Devin.
You gotta draw the grass. You gotta plot. You gotta do this side and then this side. Spend some time. It's gonna be over me. Alright. I would put. Zero there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count up. And
Tom gets lost. It's pretty. You about to go.
so forth and so on.
Cut me off the.
Guys, you get it under the shape of the graph until you have plot points. Yes, lunch is not over 25.
Back in the day, I didn't know.
Don't touch me, you did not touch me.
I got it.
So.
You back? That's it? So you're just trying to get fourth grade change? I want to get fourth grade change?
In the middle is like.
My fourth grade is internship. I would just have to switch. But it wasn't about the period. I was in the internship. She was still.
So you're trying to get out of here or out of fourth grade?
No.
You
So do you still have your lab sheet?
Chris, I have to switch first.
I don't know.
Alright, guys, Jameer, why do you have that phone in
Oh,
your
that's
phone?
not
Come up.
That's not.
Jameer, info, take him out.
Working with the under.
I'm tired of hearing Miss Curry yell about him in the staff meeting. Yep, you got a plot. You gotta take this in your time, so. What would you like?
No, that's right.
DeAndre, Marco, come on, get it done. Gotta have it done before you go.
It's a square.
I told y'all not to write down the shape of it. The black
I was doing that. You was going right.
Yes. Yes. And then tell me the shape of what you drew. Yeah. Yeah, triangle. I'm pretty sure I got it. If y'all need help, bring it here. Y'all are not supposed to be in group three. Who's working with him? He's working by himself. He's doing a great job.
Devin, come on, everybody work together. Come on, Devin.
Y'all leave it be. He's doing a great job.
For the bottom half, like, the graph, we're supposed to like, are we supposed to like, the graph on the back then?
So, over 0.1 and 2.1. So you're gonna go to 1. So just slightly over. Okay.
No, it's not. That's good, but that's not. I didn't know. Short.
It's excuse me.
Excuse me.
Just leave them be.
That's how you do You need
You don't fall out of that chair. You can't sit there and then you won't fall out of it. Alright, so you're gonna take these numbers and you're gonna write it. I'm gonna go with Jackson. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you what. The time we're supposed to be before you get that. Okay, very good. All right, so since these are whole numbers, and these are decimal numbers, okay, I would number these whole numbers. So like 0, 1, 2, 3, and I'll let you keep going. These are decimal numbers. I do those decimal numbers. So number 2 you get to, which you got on the bracket. Table. So you gotta get to it. 13. But you need to get to at least half that number. That's why I said go. Y'all have about 10 minutes.
Oh.
You see this on your show.
You don't plot these questions, so
They have, bro.
Oh my God.
I was talking to Carla.
Yep. Next time is then point two.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on the left.
It's not be on the bottom.
Huh?
It's not be on the bottom.
Time is on the bottom.
Come on, bro. Play it, bro.
Like I said, we're not gonna I said, hop off. Can I space them out?
Sure, if you want to. Okay, we got it. Numbers still going. You don't have to connect the dots to me. Yeah, did you answer the question? On the
Bro, I told you to take the notes, man. I'm sleeping, bro.
We did that last question we did, that's why I said right now. So you look back at it. Look back at it. You did that exact question in your notes.
How do you find the average?
The very last question we did.
I did it so long.
Oh,
When did I say I was? How do all the seconds or all the
when you give me your lab sheet, make sure you pick up your homework sheet. No, Chris is gonna kill me.
Homework, sheet, what? Homework.
Yeah, you gotta turn them in.
I feel like it's still summer.
You don't wanna drive? Don't leave a blank. You got to report
Instead of trying to escape, try answering the question.
Well, that'll be helpful as well. I want to work on step on your. You guys are down to 5 minutes. Answer all the questions. Here you go. I mean, you turn it.
I have one.
What's homework? I thought she was heading back out the bag. I'm about to get happy like.
That'd be homework.
Alright.
Homework.
All right. Cynthia, do you need to register for a club? Grab a laptop. I emailed you, so
20.5.
go in your email.
20.5.
19
It's in your email. I just sent you the link.
That look like Miss Subin.
No, she wasn't here.
That look like Mr. What's his name?
Mr. Al's there, out there. The last probably did. On the board in your notes was the total distance he went. And plus where. On the bottom right. There, that was 20 years ago, I was a lot younger. This one right here. I was total distance and plus where. Work together. Went 1.3 meters. All right. Go that.
Okay, now.
Rain on you.
I was ready for that. You down have the number.
Go ahead. I'm waiting.
You guys are down to 4 minutes. Okay.
It's a lot.
Be a bad line.
How will that change? It will.
Exactly. This.
So now what are you gonna do to find it? What's that mean, man? What's that line? Right here, you do. Yes.
Like I said, you going through.
Egg on my leg.
But if it goes like that, that'd be much more. You're at a constant speed in the first.
You guys are down to 2 minutes, and I need papers before you leave.
I said, oh.
What you don't have finished will be marked wrong. Got homework? Yeah, you get homework. You got your- Put your calculator up. You right. Just put the unit on. Maria, you done?
Yeah,
Carlos, Maria, y'all done?
no, ma'am.
You better have it done in a minute.
I did 5.
And it's done, so you can bring up your homework sheet.
She finished her homework that fast?
And she's working on her lab sheet.
I'm talking about her.
Oh, no, I don't know what
I was
she's
about to say.
running around looks like.
Put my stuff up.
What y'all do?
Still playing. You and. Bring it back.
Wrapping the jersey.
Bring it back beside you in the chair.
Nah, remember before the summer ended.
Just wanted to make a quick announcement before the bell rings. We have over 40 cars in our parking lot that have not received a parking permit. Those cars will not be allowed on campus after this week. So those individuals that are driving, probably unauthorized for some, Please make sure that you do not park on this campus anywhere in the front or the back unless you have a parking permit, or your vehicle will be fined. Thank you.
My husband's still in Texas.
Mine's under the garage door open. Cause I used to beg you like to clean the spot to clean. And it's so jacked up at this point. I'm like, I gotta go find something. I ain't put that coat Put your eyes on my desk!
So they put like change, so I brought these.
All of it?
I don't need this, because I already saw that. You just need that homework for tonight. Bring me rulers! Thank you, sir. Yes, did you give me your lab sheet? Bring me your lab sheet. Don't take your lab sheet with you. I gotta have it to grade. Who else needs homework sheet? You're supposed to be done. Who else needs homework sheet? In your email, you'll find your link to register for Flow.
Last one.
Please don't break it.
You're on it almost 24/7 in my class.
Really ain't singing.
Like that. You're on it a lot. I catch you on it behind the calculator or anything else.
Oh,
And you can find her.
let's use my mom.
I get you.
Yeah, I'll walk with my best friend.
It's not always mom.
Come on. You gotta bend down a little.
Everybody have homework. Number 2.
Oh, I never said nothing like that.
You heard him there. This is stupid, but
He's a thing about her torture.
Right, that's too much. Right. Yeah, right. Hey, 10 episodes he left, but I started going off.
If I'd have gotten a little closer, we could have been your child.
He said what? Who you left?
You pat up.
Number 2.
Same
You get your homework sheet.
Oh, yeah, take me a trouble.
Sheet right there.
Bro, you can hit me with that thing.
All right, we're done here before.
The one at the red house, and then.
Hey, we got some chicken.
Oh, yeah, I know you go. I'll go up.
Not gonna go eat some chicken.
This mess is gonna go wrong. You mark C.
Mark C? I mark C over there.
No, you mark B.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you mark B.
C over there.
It says on number 12, the correct answer is C, and you mark B.
Wait, what?
This says, on number 12, the correct answer is C,
Oh,
and you mark
there.
B. Yes, you mark B.
Oh.
You know the right answer, you mark the wrong answer.
So how do I do this?
Now, under the column that says,
I can change that one, right?
yes, just tell me what the right unit is.
So what's wrong with this one?
Where? Nothing, those are all checks. That just means you got the wrong unit.
So just put question 20 right here.
Yep, and then the one that's the unit, you don't have to fill out anything on those. And you just put like the volume unit as always, milliliters. If I have to go around picking up calculators, y'all are not gonna have calculators. Now, I have yet to have time to do those super close stuff. So I emailed all my kids the link so they could do it themselves. I emailed it to them myself. They're probably still telling me they didn't do it. Some of them have already done it. Because they got an email.
Like, why not? I didn't get in trouble. But my mom, she took it when it home. She let it out here. And she told me it's supposed to be at the house for my brother's day. She took out the shirt from my brother. I thought it was out.
Devin, you have missed a lab. You're going to need to make up there.
For real? I did was the lab.
What were you doing outside?
Takes about a half hour.
What were you doing?
My mom.
He was having a meltdown.
You were having one now?
Nice. Yeah, a little bit. Not crying.
A little bit. I would say you were having a meltdown.
Yes.
You all had to remove you?
No, I didn't have to remove me. This headset kind of got me. Because
He was having a meltdown.
my mom. I didn't think she'd bring it to school, but she probably started getting home, and she better not be in my house, because I'll bring it to her face.
I love it. Really? Good. Well,
What? Hold on, I'm coming.
I got another one. Cork.
Oh, I didn't know you broke it.
Come down there.